Title: My coworker stole credit for my work. Her fall was public, brutal, and 100% earned. Fake names used. Sorry for formatting, mobile, etc., etc. I don't usually post stuff like this, but I think I just witnessed the corporate version of watching someone trip over their own ego and fall face first into a wood chipper. Let me start with some background. My name's Nick, 27M, and I work in the data analytics department of a medium-sized marketing firm in the Midwest. It's not Google, but we handle pretty high-profile accounts and operate in a fast-paced, results-driven environment. You screw up, you eat it. You shine, you better hope your boss notices. I've been at the company for 4 years. Quiet, consistent, not flashy, but dependable. I'm the guy who delivers. I don't schmooze. I don't throw myself into group chats to be seen. I just do the work. Then there's Rachel, 33, female. Definitely not her real name. Rachel joined our company about a year and a half ago. When she arrived, she was all charisma. Loud, confident, borderline theatrical. You know the type, blazer with the sleeves rolled up, iced coffee in hand, talks in marketing jargon that sounds deep but means nothing. She had just enough technical knowledge to talk to clients without embarrassing herself, but not nearly enough to build anything functional from scratch. From the start, she gave off those LinkedIn influencer vibes. Always talking about synergizing innovation and leveraging consumer data to redefine engagement. Meanwhile, she once asked me how to turn on the developer console in Chrome. The thing is, management loved her, especially Steve, who's a good guy, but like many middle managers, he's easily impressed by people who sound confident even if they don't deliver. Now, here's where things get messy. About 3 months ago, we landed a big client, huge real estate tech firm with multiple regions and live data pipelines. Steve approached me privately and asked me to lead the development of a dashboard solution for the client's marketing analytics. Live updates, conversion tracking, lead scoring, predictive trends, the works. I was excited. It was a big opportunity, and for once I get to flex a little of what I actually know. Steve told me to keep it lean. I could loop in help if I needed it, but it was my project. I dove head first. Wireframes, backend logic, APIs, UI design. I even learned the client's internal taxonomy so I could tailor the interface to how they think. Meanwhile, Rachel occasionally popped into my team's chat with things like, "Hey, need help on the visuals? I'm a Canva queen. I can do the presentation part if you want. I'm killer with clients." I'd always politely decline. This was technical work. Rachel designing it would be like handing a nuclear reactor to a raccoon because it looks good in a lab coat. Then came D-Day. The final deck was due for presentation the next morning. Steve got sick and called off. I submitted the final version to our shared drive and assumed that was that. Big mistake. The next day, I walk into the conference room and nearly choke on my own tongue. Rachel is at the front of the room, standing beside the giant projected dashboard with her name watermarked in the corner. The intro slide? Strategic Dashboard Solution, developed by Rachel M. The client had no idea. Steve wasn't there. The rest of the team just assumed it was a joint project. I tried to speak, but she bulldozed ahead with her presentation. And the worst part? She killed it. She sounded brilliant. "This dashboard dynamically scales to user interactions," she said. "I implemented real-time updates through a proprietary back-end filter I custom designed." All lies. I sat there in stunned silence while this woman took a victory lap with my work. She didn't just steal the credit, she buried me. After the meeting, I confronted her quietly. She laughed it off. "Nick, come on. You're the brains, I'm the face. It's about synergy. Don't make it weird." I was furious but didn't explode. I just nodded, left the room, and immediately compiled every timestamp file, commit log, Slack message, draft email, and even my handwritten notes with the project timeline. I sent it all to Steve with a subject line that just read, FYI. I didn't hear back that day, but I knew what I was doing. Update 1. 2 weeks later. Steve called me into a private meeting 2 days after he got back. He looked tired. Not annoyed at me, just disappointed. Not in me, in himself. Nick, what she did was unexcusable. Apparently, Rachel had framed the whole project in her weekly report as something she co-developed with input from Nick, then submitted it directly to upper management and the client liaison. It wasn't until Steve saw the actual presentation, which was recorded by our AV guy, and cross-checked it with the documentation I sent that he realized how bad it was. That's when Steve said, "Don't say anything to her. Let's just let this run its course." A week later, Rachel was invited to give a follow-up presentation to the client's tech and marketing teams to explain the dashboard's back-end logic. You already know where this is going. The meeting was brutal. She started with her usual peppy tone, all, "as I build and my custom logic allows for." But when the client's lead dev number, a no-nonsense woman named Michelle, asked for specifics, like how the filtering logic worked when parsing duplicate entries from their CRM, Rachel froze. She stuttered something about cloud data cohesion and harmonized parameters, which meant nothing. Michelle pressed further. "Can you walk me through the normalization pipeline, step by step?" Rachel reached for her mouse and opened a completely unrelated flowchart she'd drawn in Canva. It looked like it was made for a high school marketing class. She started reading it verbatim like it was a pitch deck. Then Steve, who was sitting in the back, finally spoke up. "Why don't we let Nick answer that?" The silence could have broken glass. I walked up, plugged in my laptop, and calmly pulled up the data flow pipeline. I explained how I wrote a Python script to flag and reconcile mismatched entries from the CRM, how I used Power BI's RVST API to auto-refresh based on webhook triggers. I even showed how Rachel's version, yes, I found a copy, broke the entire pipeline and crashed on runtime. The client's team was impressed, but more importantly, they were pissed. "We were told she built this," Michelle said. "We trusted her." Rachel, to her credit, didn't cry, but she did storm out and slam the door. I'm told she tried to file a complaint with HR the next day, claiming I hijacked her project and made her look bad intentionally. She really thought HR would side with her. Update 2, 1 month later. It's done. Rachel was let go officially 2 weeks ago. Not fired, but mutually agreed to part ways, which is corporate speak for we gave her the option to resign before we nuked her reference. HR went hard into the documentation. Steve and I handed them everything. They were shocked. Apparently, this wasn't Rachel's first time playing games with attribution. She'd creatively contributed to a few smaller projects that had gone under the radar. This time, the evidence was too overwhelming. What made it worse? The client pulled their direct contact request with Rachel and said they wouldn't continue the contract unless someone else led communication. Me. They personally requested me. Steve gave me a raise and a new title, Senior Data Analyst. I now lead all technical presentations, and Rachel's buzzword brand has become an office joke. Someone literally put a sticky note on the Keurig that says, "Synergize the brew cycle." I didn't gloat. I didn't say I told you so. I just kept doing my job. And people noticed. Rachel, from what I heard, is trying to freelance, but in this industry, word gets around. Moral of the story? If you're gonna steal credit, make sure you can survive the follow-up questions. I'll be here, quietly building, quietly winning.
Update 3, the LinkedIn Meltdown. Posted 2 weeks after Update 2. So I honestly thought the saga was over. Rachel was gone, I was promoted, and the client had fully transitioned to working with me directly. I was already mentally moving on, enjoying the quiet, and doing what I do best. Actual work. But of course, Rachel had one last dramatic act in her playbook, and this time, she took it public. I was on LinkedIn last Friday, checking job market stuff, nothing dramatic, when I saw a post from Rachel pop up on my feed. Let me paint the scene for you. Big, bold headline. Emoji. When corporate politics destroy innovation, a cautionary tale for women in tech. Emoji. Oh boy. The post was a long-winded 14-paragraph essay filled with vague language about being undermined, toxicity in the workplace, and a male colleague who sabotaged her out of jealousy. She never said my name directly. Duh, she's not that dumb. But the context made it painfully obvious to anyone in our industry or office who she was talking about. She claimed her proprietary dashboard framework was co-opted by a coworker who had zero communication skills and weaponized technical jargon to discredit her contributions. She even added, "Let this be a lesson. When you shine too bright, some people will try to dim your light instead of catching up." The post went mildly viral, got a few hundred likes, mostly from fellow girl boss and tech types and career influencers who eat this stuff up without checking any facts. A bunch of them commented things like, "Ugh, typical. You deserve better, sis," strong arm emoji. "Tag the company, expose them." But then, things got interesting. Because someone from the client's team saw it, specifically Michelle, the woman who exposed Rachel in the second meeting. And Michelle does not play games. She commented, publicly, I might add, "We appreciated your energy during the initial demo, but let's be clear, the actual architecture was designed, coded, and explained by someone else entirely. Taking credit for someone else's work, then playing the victim, isn't politics, it's deception. Wish you the best, but please stop rewriting history." Instant silence. The likes stopped, the supportive comments dried up. A few of Rachel's defenders even deleted their comments. Then more people from the company, quiet lurkers like myself, started reacting with the little skull and two eyes emojis. Someone even replied with a gif of a dumpster fire. Rachel edited the post twice, then turned off comments. Then deleted it completely the next morning. But the damage was done. Screenshots were already floating around in Slack, group chats, and even a few industry Discord servers. It became a mini meme in our office. One coworker made a fake inspirational quote graphic that said, "Steal code, gaslight, girl boss. Rachel M. probably." To this day, every time someone mislabels a chart or presents someone else's idea, someone in the office will mutter, "Rachel would have pitched that." And me? Still chill, still quiet, still building. But now, when I hit run on my dashboards, I smile a little harder, knowing Karma's got faster Wi-Fi than she expected.